All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Walk It Down. My name is Devin Brooks. This is Ronnie Williams, and this is the Walk It Down Sports Podcast, episode 3 from YouTube. So I'm gonna get right into it. We got a couple of things we want to run down today about Olympics. They ended last week, so we can talk about that. And we're gonna talk about some football since football is finally back. So I'm just gonna start with the Olympics. Team USA, they went ahead and they won the gold medal against France. Mm-hmm. And I said that they was going to lose, and I was wrong about that, so I take that L. But I just want to know what was your takeaway from their Olympic run?
Well, I'm going to go in and say, like you said, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And as I recall, it was you who said, oh, they about to lose. Oh, they might not even get a bronze medal. Right. They may not even get this. But I told you it was an exhibition. It was exhibition basketball, man. It's just, they got the group that they got now don't have the mentality that these guys had years ago, where they took every game serious.
That's why I said that. That's why.
So they didn't take the exhibition game seriously. But I knew once it came time to championship time, it was going to be all right. So what I took away from that was USA is still the basketball powerhouse of the world.
Well, yeah.
But not to say that the competition hadn't risen. Because those guys have gotten way better than they've been in the last 10 years. Like I said, they can't be beat when they are serious. And they didn't take like you said, they didn't take the exhibition game seriously. And as long as you had Kevin Durant, you championship bound.
Oh, my goodness.
I had to throw that in there for you.
Yeah, you had to throw that in there. I'm not taking nothing away from the guys. They won the gold medal, and France was a formidable opponent. But besides France, who they play? A little dribblers? The Dream Team. They was the first team to be formed that we remember, and the only reason why they made that team is because the team before that went over there and got beat. So they had a bunch of college kids basically. Yeah. So they put the best NBA players on the team, and they went over there. And like I said, just like you said, there wasn't no competition back in the 90s. Internationally, the best player was Tony Kukoc. Yeah. That was really the only guy that internationally that they had. So, there wasn't no competition back then. But them guys, they put the best players together, and they went over there and killed everybody. And then you had Kobe and them, their years, and then you had Klay Thompson, Steph, and them guys. But this team here, the Dream Team, they had a lot of great moments. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan going against Tony Kukoc, Charles Barkley punching guys from Nigeria. Larry Bird, getting a standing ovation after one of his great games. They giving him his flowers. When Kobe and LeBron went in, they had their moments. D Wade and Kobe had their moments. What was the defining moment for this team in this Olympics? Do you remember anything that happened? What play or what moment did they have? It's just like it was kind of just, just unforgettable.
I think the defining moment wasn't in the game. I think the defining moment came in practices. It was a lot of tension in practices. You don't. This year you didn't have the Dwayne Wade as the leadership, the Kobe Bryant as leadership, the Michael Jordan, and even the LeBron James, which he really never led when it was Kobe. Kobe led that team. But Kobe was the leader. Kobe was the leader of the last one. But you didn't have that authoritative figure in there, so you had a lot of superstars butting heads. And the international players this year, I don't know if you recall, but they was it Dame Lillard and these guys were going talking about how these international players was like, this is our chance to show y'all that we're better. Their teammates and stuff that's normally playing in the NBA took it real serious. And them guys, they have to go to practice and man, these guys they about to bring it to us. Mm-hmm. And so I think they have to have a heart-to-heart in practice. And that was a defining moment that if they didn't get it together, the international boys were gonna put it on them. And then they was going to rub it in their face all NBA season next season. So I think the defining moment came in practice.
In practice. What we didn't see.
Probably threw a couple of hands. I remember when they were talking about KD and what's up?
Bam.
Yeah, Bam about to go at it. And it was just crazy. So they had growing moments in practice, and thank God they hashed it out to get that little small win over France. It was small in numbers, but big and and everything else.
Well, like you said, I give it to him. I'm not gonna take that away from him, but it's not nothing that I'll be talking about, down the years. I mean, I'm still talking about how Kobe then beat Spain in 08 and how they ran through everybody in 12. I don't think anybody's gonna be talking about this.
It didn't seem as special. Like I said,
it really didn't.
All the big names wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had guys make it there late like Booker and Millsap and not Millsap, but
Holiday
and
Middleton.
Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
They all came in late, so you didn't have the big names, and the big leadership. And, when you have those iconic figures, regardless if what people think about LeBron James, he's still the most iconic figure in the NBA right now. So with him not being there, they took away millions of views and took away away from the game.
Curry didn't play. Harden didn't play.
So you got those icons worldwide icons that people tune in on.
Yeah, understandable. Yes.
Greatest KD is, he's still not that iconic yet as far as worldwide as the LeBron, the Curry, the Kobe Bryant. So them guys not being there took away from the game, so it wasn't as big of a moment. Yeah.
But like I said, I was wrong. And I can't admit. Well, you just go ahead and put it out there, don't you?
Wrong.
I can't admit when I'm wrong. I'm not gonna play it off. I was wrong, but I mean, I wasn't the only one. The big dogs like Shannon Sharp and Chris Broussard and some of the other guys, they said the same thing I did. They didn't think they was really gonna win either, but they won. So I give it to them. So America, I give it to them. But I mean, hopefully in 2024, maybe we'll get one last dance from LeBron and Steph and them before they retire.
Yeah.
But we're gonna just keep it in the Olympics. Where we're gonna just focus on one guy. Kevin Durant. He had a great gold medal performance. He had a 30-point performance, and his last 3 gold medal games, he's had a pretty much a 30-point performance. So he didn't really ball out when it really mattered. So did his performance in this gold medal game and just throughout the Olympics as a whole make him the clear-cut best player in the league, or is he still chasing somebody?
I don't think he needed this performance to show who he was. We already knew who Kevin Durant was. I mean, it was just Kevin Durant being Kevin Durant, out there being efficient, scoring when he wanted to score and winning. It did help his legacy as far as him winning 3 gold medals. He's now tied with Carmelo Anthony for the most gold medals of active NBA players in NBA history. So, but as far as showing Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant, I mean, he was on a team full of superstars just then, and he still led them to score. Then you go back to the Eastern Conference Finals, he averaged 36 and 11 and 6. Then you go to the season, last season, he averaged 27 and 7 and 5 during the season. I mean, his career scoring average is still above 26 points a game, above LeBron James, above my boy Kobe. I mean, he's Kevin Durant. And it just sucks that he has to do a lot more to prove what's already been proven. And it's just, he's constantly, and he's going to continue to do that for the rest of his career. I feel that even if he wins 7 rings, we still going to be saying KD has something to prove to us.
Well, we say that because of the way he won his first 2 rings. He did something that great players don't do. Mm-hmm. He did something that great players shouldn't do.
Like what?
They should do. He went to the team that beat him. He went to the team that he had down. Now, I ain't talking about he had them. He had them. I mean, he had them up against the wall. He had them up against the wall, and he had his hand on their neck, and he gave him life again. He was up. He had a 3-1 lead, and he was the reason why they lost. I don't want to hear no Russell Westbrook blow the game. He had chance after chance to put these team away, and he didn't. And he went and joined them the very next year. And they won 2 championships out of it. Now, granted,
because of him.
I'm going to say now. Granted, they went all the way to Hamptons and flew all the way out there and told him that they wanted him. Draymond cried like a little baby in the parking lot after they got beat, but and he drove the bus for them 2 years. But still, he didn't have to do that. He's too great for that.
Man, that's basketball these days, man. Even players such as Damian Lillard that talked about that situation. What did he do this offseason? He made a whole video. LeBron, come get me. Come put me up. I'm ready. That's where basketball is going these days. Everybody's wanting to team up to win. And that's one thing I'll give Giannis. That's why his championship was great to me. Even though I didn't pick him to win, I picked the Suns, and I was wrong. But he did it the old school old-fashioned way that these guys aren't doing these days. Everybody wants to team up. So I can't blame him for what, he went to a team that beat him, but he made that team better. I can understand if he went and rode their coattails, but he did. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't have carried that team because they wouldn't have won without him.
Okay, but if we're both being honest, if the Nets were fully healthy, the Bucks gonna beat the Nets.
Oh no.
And if the Lakers were fully healthy, the Suns gonna beat the Lakers in the first round.
Facts.
So I mean, I put an asterisk by his time. I get him an asterisk for that because everybody wasn't fully healthy. If everybody's fully healthy, the Bucks gonna beat the Nets because they almost got beat without everybody.
Yeah. True.
And same thing with the Suns, but he balled out in the finals. Mm-hmm. So really, honestly, and right now, I think Giannis is the best player in the NBA. Giannis is the best player in the NBA right now, simply because, I don't know if y'all forgot, or I don't know if anybody remember. If I got if y'all got amnesia, Giannis beat KD in KD's house in Game 7. In Game 7, Giannis went to Brooklyn, New York, the boroughs of New York, at the Barclays Center, and he beat Kevin Durant on national TV. He did that. He beat Kevin Durant. He did that. Correct?
They beat Kevin Durant.
Giannis versus KD.
They beat Kevin Durant.
Man, you all know
they beat Kevin Durant.
In the playoffs, it's about superstars. It's not about complimentary players. It's about superstars. Giannis went to KD's house and he beat KD in a Game 7.
He beat an injured Nets team with KD alone. That's all they had was KD. But the Bucks was the only team in the NBA that had a full healthy roster in the playoffs.
Okay, they were
full healthy roster. They beat KD, and they barely beat him by themselves. But James Harden was limping the whole game, and they barely beat this man, putting up 50 picks. And if he'd have wore size 12 instead of a size 18, he would have been NBA champion right now.
But star versus star, Giannis beat KD in this house in the Game 7. So and did you see what he did in the NBA Finals? Did you see what this man did?
Yeah.
Back up when his team needed him to come through, he came through. He didn't. Look, like I said, I'm not taking that away from KD about what he did for one game in Game 6 when he had 49 and he played the whole game. One game.
He averaged 36 and 11.
Look, I'm not taking that.
36
look,
and 11.
But we asked KD to be great for one game, and he was. Game 7, he wasn't great. He wasn't. He wasn't great in Game 7. Where was he at? Where was he at? He wasn't great for Game 7.
He was great.
He
was exhausted.
I'm not trying to hit it. I don't care about him being Michael Jordan didn't get tired. Kobe Bryant didn't get tired. LeBron James didn't get tired. Oh, we didn't say that for them. And we didn't say that for them, so I'm not giving it to them.
Take LeBron James' name out of that. Didn't get tired.
When?
Because we go back to that Dallas Mavericks series. He was real tired at 8 points. When he had the 4 points, when he got held by Jason Kidd.
He wasn't tired.
6'3", 190-pound man held a 6'8", 275-pound king to 8 points when they lost. So we're not gonna say he wasn't.
First of all, LeBron wasn't tired. He flamed out. He just flamed out. He flamed out. Kevin Durant had the ball in his hands with the chance to take the Nets to the finals, and he gagged.
He did.
He burnt out. Giannis beat this man on his home court in Game 7, and then with his team down 2-0 in the finals, he switched. What did Clark Kent do? Got to the phone booth and he come out as Superman. and for 4 games in a row, he was Superman. He was Superman, and he put his team on his back, and they won that finals. He won that finals. Giannis is the best player in the NBA right now. I mean, he is. He just is. LeBron is the face of the league.
So the best player in the NBA. So if you had to build a team right now, that would be your first pick.
Giannis?
Yeah.
No.
So how's he the best? Why wouldn't he be your first pick?
For me, because he don't fit. For me, he's not the type of player that I want to build my team around.
Why is he not the type of player to build your team around if he's the best player in the NBA?
Okay, you can be the best, but you're not wanted by everybody. I don't want KD either. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want KD either. If I'm picking a team right now, I wouldn't want KD or Giannis. I would not. That's just me. That's just me. Giannis is a great player in his own right, but look, he can't score. He's not a full level scorer. Now Kevin Durant's a full level scorer,
Yes.
but he's not a better defender than Giannis. Giannis can impact the game in many ways. Now we saw that Giannis, when he can't score, he can block shots. He also had one of the greatest blocks of all time in the finals. So I mean, you know, Giannis can impact the game different ways when he's not scoring the ball, when he's not driving to the lane and doing a Euro step and dunking on people. But I mean,
that's when he don't have a dominant big man that he's going against. You put someone like Anthony Davis or Joel Embiid up under that rim instead of Blake Griffin, it's a totally different story. You know, when you're going against Blake Griffin for 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, you better put up 50. You better put up 50.
Okay, but Blake Griffin's not small. I mean, you're a personal trainer. You know, he's a big body dude. Blake Griffin is what 6'10", 250 pounds. I mean, that's a big old boy.
He's never been known for defensive.
He's not, but I mean, that's a big body.
The best thing Blake Griffin been known for was jumping over that kid in the dunk contest. Other than that, and paying what he get paying $600,000 a month in child support. That's about it.
Come on, Ronnie.
That's all Blake Griffin known for. Other than that, he ain't known playing no defense.
So that takes away from Giannis?
No, it don't take away from Giannis. It's just saying that's for instance, okay, you say this finals. What about what about the Toronto Raptors series when he had a chance to win that series? Matter of fact, it was up, and the coach came in Toronto and said we need to make a game plan to change this around. And Kawhi Leonard said, "I am the game plan. I'm going Giannis." And what happened? What happened? One man, Kawhi Leonard. Stop. Shut him down.
He did.
After being up, they was up.
He did.
Shut him down the rest of the series. So when he has another dominant presence, that's why I don't think he's the best player in the NBA yet. Because when he has another dominant presence defensively in there, he's not gonna give you no 50 points, no 45 points.
Okay, but I'm talking about, but I ain't talking about it in the past. I ain't talking about 2 3 years ago. I'm talking about right now.
I'm talking about right now.
Right now, he's the best player in the league.
I'm talking about if you put the best defensive presence on that person and they can still take over a game, that's the best player in the NBA. Giannis got too many buts. Well, sometimes he good at the free throw line, but sometimes he not good at it's too many buts to be the best player. He plays in the paint, back to the basket. If you get him out of that and he's out of rhythm, he's not that same guy. Or what he does, he takes 2 steps back and then he runs full speed and drives to the paint. If he can't do that, he can't play ball. So he's still not the best.
But what about bust for Kevin Durant? He didn't win.
So that makes him not the best player in the
He came up short.
Because he didn't win?
He came up short.
Because he didn't win.
If you're that guy, you got to come through.
So winning a championship automatically makes you the best player in the NBA.
No, it doesn't. But it's the way he won.
That series.
It's the way he won. Now, he didn't have a super team, for one. So he didn't really have nobody to lean on.
And he didn't play against nobody that had somebody to lean on. Who did Kevin Durant had to lean on? Name somebody on that team, right? But Joe Harris went 1 for 27 in threes.
Okay, he did. And his teammates disappeared in the biggest moments.
The biggest moment.
But that's the time for you to step up. And he didn't do that
He stepped up, man.
But when you needed to make these shots, he didn't make them. Now, if LeBron James made that shot like KD did, and he had his foot on the line,
LeBron James would have made that shot.
What would have been?
LeBron would have made that shot.
What would have been the storyline the next day? LeBron doesn't know where his foot was. He's got to know. He's got to have basketball presence. He's got to know where he is on the court. That's horrible. That's horrible instincts by LeBron. He should have known he wasn't by the line. But nobody said that about KD. Everybody felt bad for him because he wore 3 sizes too big shoes. But that was LeBron James. Be like, oh, he doesn't know where he is on the court. Michael Jordan would have knew where his foot was. That's all it would have been. I'm not trying to hear that stuff, man. Look, I'm saying the way Giannis won the championship, he didn't have a super team, and he really didn't have another bona fide superstar on his team. You got one alpha, you got a great two-way player in Holiday, and then you got Chris Middleton, who is night and day. Night and day. You never know when he's going to show up. And he made shots when he needed to make shots. But in the last 2 games, I couldn't find Chris Middleton. The only person I could find was Giannis. And Giannis had a 50 piece, pretty much a 50 piece in the game clinching game, and he made 14 to 16 for the free throw. He did everything he was supposed to do. He's the best player in the league right now. He carried that team to a championship, and pretty much no other superstar on the team. Kevin Durant, the last championship he won, he had 3 Hall of Famers on his team, and if he won this year or if he wins next year, he have 2 or 3 more Hall of Famers on his team if they don't go get nobody else. So I mean, Jesus.
I don't know. How do we hold Kevin Durant to that standard, but we don't hold LeBron James?
We all hold him to that standard. We all hold him to that standard. I mean, when he left Miami, he got murdered. When he left from Miami, he got murdered. And he left from Miami and went back to Cleveland, he got murdered.
But he was still considered the best in the NBA, even though he teamed up with who at the time was top 3. D-Wade was a top 3 player in the NBA at that time.
I don't know about top 3.
Who was better? Who was better than D-Wade at the time besides LeBron and Kobe?
I don't know about top 3.
Who was better in the NBA at that time, other than LeBron and Kobe?
Give me Carmelo at that time. Carmelo was better than D-Wade.
New York Knicks Carmelo?
Yes. Yes. Yes, sir. Give me Melo at the time. At that time, you got Melo at that time.
Melo, not at that. He was coming off a championship, and he was still. Matter of fact, he had a scoring. He coming off a championship. He had a scoring title
in 2008.
No, he didn't just come. Not the year before that, but I'm saying he had already had a championship run, and he had a scoring title. And he was in the MVP race almost every year.
Okay, but you got to remember.
D-Wade was the number 3 player. It was nobody.
But you got to remember, Carmelo Anthony had just went to the Western Conference Finals against Kobe and the Lakers. He just gave that team to the Western Conference Finals.
Carmelo was better than D-Wade that year. He was not better than Flash that year.
And I can make an argument that he was.
Not better than Flash.
I can make a great argument that he was. In 2009.
I gotta say that for another show. That's a whole 45 minutes. We can go in on that. We can go in on that one. I'm ready.
Well, look. Bottom line is, I don't think Kevin Durant's the best player in the league right now. And another thing is, okay, he played great in the Olympics. But I mean, like I said, Carmelo Anthony, just like you said before, he had 3 gold medals. Did we ever say he was the best player in the league after he come out from the Olympics?
He didn't have the resume before the Olympics to add that too.
Okay, what did he do when he got there though? In the Olympics, he carried them teams. I mean, greatly. He carried them teams.
He balled out. He balled out Olympics, but the difference between them is he didn't have championships before the Olympics. He didn't have the scoring titles that he had.
Had a super team.
He didn't have the MVPs. He had a finals MVPs. This dude is building a legacy, a championship resume, a legacy resume that Carmelo didn't have leading up to the Olympics. That's the difference. Now, if Carmelo would have had that before that, it'd have been a totally different story. But his resume before in the regular season, yeah, if he played like the Olympic Carmelo the whole season, he may have been had a couple of MVPs, but it wasn't it.
It wasn't it.
It wasn't it.
Well, I think it's like this. Giannis currently is the best player in the league. LeBron is still the face of the league. Yeah. And Kevin Durant is the best scorer in the league. That's how it goes. But that can change, and it probably will change next season. Because I'm pretty sure Kyrie and Harden will be back healthy. And the Nets will probably run roughshod over everybody. And Kevin Durant will be an afterthought. Just like he was, and everybody will talk about, he's on for the ride. But I mean, it's whatever. I mean, you got your opinions, I got mine. But I think we got to give Giannis his respect. He won a championship without a super team, and I think right now he's the best player in the league right now. And I'm not gonna give Kevin Durant a nod just because he went overseas and beat a couple of legitimate teams. So now we're gonna shift to football. Michael Thomas, the wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, he had an injury-riddled season last year. And they got cut short, of course, when they lost to the Bucs in the playoffs. Yep. There's no Drew Brees now. They got Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill going fighting for the job. And he's hurt as of right now also. And I believe he's probably going to be out for most of the fall. So, and it's rumored that he wants out. So what do you think about his rumored trade request? Do you think it's justified, or do you think he should ride it out? Or what?
It's a business, and I think he's trying to build his legacy. And the thing he had behind Drew Brees is he always had that hope. As long as I got Brees, I know my numbers are going to be good, one, and I know we're always going to be able to compete either for an NFC championship or even a Super Bowl contender with Drew Brees. Now he got 2 quarterbacks who me and you probably can go in battle for him right now in training camp for a position against these guys. And that's it. I would request a trade too. I mean, he got these 2 guys He has no chance of bettering his legacy behind these guys. He has no chance of winning an NFC Championship or Super Bowl behind either one of these guys. He doesn't have faith in the team without Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. He knows for two when you got quarterbacks that horrible, the offense is going to change. Now he's going to start running the ball more. What that mean for him? He going to get less targets, which means less catches, less yards, less touchdowns, which is going to make him less valuable. So while he's valuable now, he's requesting that trade to get out of there because if he goes through this whole season and they give Alvin Kamara 322 touches and he only get 80 targets instead of his normal 120 targets he get, he's going to be less valuable. And so it's smart for him to want out right now.
I agree. I really do. Like I said, I hate to see it come to this.
Yeah.
Because I like Mike Thomas. I think for a while, he called himself can't guard Mike. And I think for a while he lived up to that because we really couldn't guard him for a while. But I think he sees the writing on the wall is that he really can't win in this situation. I mean, because he really can't stay healthy, which is not his fault. But still, you're not gonna keep a guy on the payroll. Keep blowing money on a guy that you can't rely on to be available.
Yeah.
But I think his trade request is justified because he sees that he really can't win there, and he's still young, and while he has a chance to be a part of some of the great receivers of the past, he has to get out of there.
Yes.
And I think that it's a couple of suitors out there. It was rumored the Eagles maybe might want a chance at it, and the Jets, Kansas City, New England, Baltimore.
You need to go to New England or Green Bay.
The Chargers or the Jaguars. I mean, he has options. It's just trying to find the right deal for both sides. But I mean, I think I agree with him. I think he should want out because I mean, the numbers he put up when he was healthy is undeniable, and he was a direct correlation of why that team was even in the running for the Super Bowl. And I think I think they'll reach he'll pretty much maxed out in New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans pretty much maxed out. They maxed out.
He done all they could do.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, they was one bad call away from making it to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and if he would have been healthy last year, maybe they would have made it. Maybe had a deeper run, maybe because you give Drew Brees another target. Instead of throwing the ball to Jared Cook and him fumbling the ball 4 or 5 times. So I mean, you got. He has an argument, and I think while he's still young, and if he get back healthy, I think it's time for them to cut ties.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He got to get out of there while he can. I mean, especially with right now, the wide receiver market is so hot right now. I mean, like I said, you got New England still looking for a good wide receiver, number one. Green Bay, if he went to Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers and Adams, they would be cooking some man. That's what he. That would be great for the NFL. That would be great. That would be great for the NFL. But you still got teams like this. Russell Wilson, he needs another receiver over there. Mm-hmm. So the wide receiver market is high right now, and he needs to move while it's high so he can get his value and go somewhere that wants to win and that can win right now.
Right now. So we're gonna keep it in football, and we're gonna talk about your team a little bit. I've been keeping tabs on them because I got to. I keep tabs on everybody, but I especially got to keep tabs on Dallas. And Dak Prescott, he hurt himself a couple of days into the first hours of camp. He kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit. It wasn't no big deal. He come back, but now they said that he's kind of got like a lingering shoulder injury that he gonna have to get an MRI on. But the team officials said that there's nothing to worry about. So he just got his big deal. He's the highest paid quarterback in the league. And now, he's kind of been banged up throughout training camp so far. He didn't play in the preseason game, the first preseason game at all. He wasn't even on the premises. But, I mean, so as far as, him, kind of getting shaken up, do you have any concern about how he can make it through the season?
Yes. Before we gave Dak that money, matter of fact, I was at the game. Remember, I was at that game that he broke his leg, Man, that break was crucial. It was crucial, man. And right then, I said it was over. It was over for him. Once me studying anatomy for 8 years, is once you get a lower body injury, your body is never really the same, especially one that's gruesome and that. You start overcompensating, and that's when you start hurting other things. Like you said, he hurt his other ankle, the opposite one of his leg, the one he broke it. Then he ended up having a second surgery that they found out about to clean out the first surgery. And then he ended up the shoulder injury for throwing too hard. That usually comes from overcompensating. So instead of coming from your legs when you throw the ball, you use too much upper body because you're scared to put pressure on it. So he's going to continue to have injuries. They should have not paid him $45 million a year because he's not going to be available. He's not going to be available the entire season for $45 million a year. I honestly don't see Dak. Don't see Dak playing 100% of the games this season.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
So out of the 17 games, how many you think he'll play?
Man, if you watch Hard Knocks, if you've been watching Hard Knocks when he's been out there, he's still limping. He's limping. When he's throwing the ball now, he's not putting nothing behind. He can't.
But he's begging the coaching staff that he wants his reps.
Yeah.
He wants to play.
But he's not healthy. And the coaches, they're not doing that because they see it too.
Mm-hmm.
Dak is not healthy. He's not healthy enough to play. And they shouldn't have paid him all of that money right now because I'm telling you right now, Dak is going to continue to get injured. I won't be surprised if he have another knee injury on the other leg. He have an ACL, MCL injury from overcompensating, from Dak being Dak, from taking off running, planting or something. Cause that's usually what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see him playing 100%. So out of 17 games, Dak will probably play 10 or 11 games.
So do you think he'll play opening night, Thursday night against the Buccaneers?
I think he's going to play against the Buccaneers. I think he's going to get out there and play against the Buccaneers. But with that defensive line, I think that's where he's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
The boys going to put pressure on him, and either they're going to hit him to hurt him, or he going to hurt himself trying to get away from that D-line. Because them boys got some monsters coming back there, and he can't just sit back there. Hopefully that offensive line, the great offensive line that we have, show up, because if they don't, Dak will be injured that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you calling it?
I'm calling it.
I know you don't want to.
I'm praying it don't happen because I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm Cowboys Super Bowl every year, but just looking at it, being a realist, watching Dak in training camp, watching the way he moves, watching the way he shifts his body, he still has lingering issues. He's overcompensating on one side. He can't throw. He can't even throw the ball right now. He's barely throwing 15 yards right now. So you think he's just gonna all of a sudden start throwing 60 yards because it's game one?
Mm-hmm.
Think your body gonna be like, it's game one. Let me get 100%. You know, it's not gonna be like that. And when you have those injuries, you're gonna the more injuries you have to your body like that, the more you overcompensate in other areas, and something else is gonna get hurt.
So what does that do for Zeke Elliott, who has dedicated his summer to getting more leaner and getting his body back that he had when he first got in the league, and he's trying to prove that he can live up to his contract since he got his money. Do you think that if they don't have Dak Prescott, of course they're not gonna throw the ball that much with Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert or whoever else they have back there? Mm-hmm. So if they make Ezekiel Elliott the bell cow and he gets all these extended touches, do you think that'll wear him down?